When in solidarity with the House of Representatives, the Senate has shifted to Wednesday its close by clause voting on the 27 items in the 1999 Constitution listed for amendment.
Presiding Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu asked all senators of the 8th Senate to ensure their presence on the said day as they are to vote by electronic voting. Before the announcement, the Constitution amendment had earlier been listed on the order paper. But after a closed-door session, the upper chamber decided to postpone the exercise to Wednesday and Thursday.
All right, National Assembly correspondent Sumner Sambo is joining us now from Abuja to give us further updates on that. Hello, Sumner. Well, tell us more about the outcome of that meeting.
Well, the outcome of that meeting is that the Senate has shifted its consideration and clause-by-clause voting of the amendment of the 1999 Constitution, fourth alteration, to Wednesday and Thursday in solidarity with the House of Representatives. Presiding Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu told senators that the e-voting machine of the House is going to be used during that exercise, and as a result of that, all senators are expected to be in attendance. And once they say all senators are to be in attendance, it means that every senator has a vote tomorrow, and when this clause-by-clause consideration is ongoing, every senator will click a yes or a no, and that will be recorded, and for each of the clauses that they consider, the results will be made known to senators, and they'll keep doing the exercise until the 27 items listed for amendments are all voted on.
And as that debate starts tomorrow, what do you think would be the immediate terms of reference?
Well, the critical issues here are some of the issues that Nigerians have been canvassing for: devolution of powers, having more women in the federal cabinet, having more younger persons in government, and elective positions. For example, there are other amendments that are being sought, such as the amendment of Section 147, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution, to allow for Nigeria's capital city, the Federal Capital Territory, to have a minister in the federal cabinet. You know, as it stands right now, there are only ministers from 36 states and maybe geopolitical zones, but the Federal Capital Territory does not have a representative in the federal cabinet. So the federal parliamentarians are saying that the natives of the territory, the residents of the territory should have a voice in the federal cabinet. And also, we have a situation where the National Assembly is really introducing a genuine desire by most civil society organizations and Nigerians generally that if a president is dead or a governor is dead, his vice president or the deputy governor should aspire to his position in elective authority. But what they are saying is that he can only be entitled to contest once. So unlike a situation where, for example, we have in Yobe State, where the then Governor Mama Ali died just a few months after swearing in, and then his the deputy continued for the first time, contested the second time again, and all of that. What they are saying now is that he will only be entitled to contest once. So these are some of the reforms. Other reforms that they are asking for is, for example, that the office of the Attorney General should be separated from the Minister of Justice. They say that the office of the AGF should be a non-political one, and that Ministry of Justice should be headed by a political person. Now, if you look at some of the issues that they are talking about, like, for example, the State of the Nation address, they feel that the President of the country should at least talk to the people of the country through the federal parliament once in a year. And they have now said that if this amendment scales through, on the first week of May every year, the president will be addressing a joint session of the National Assembly, in addition with other devolution of powers from the exclusive list to the concurrent list, so that states will be able to run their own electricity, run their own railways, and so many other things. So this is a subtle way of restructuring the country, and they are all hoping that Nigerians will accept the outcome of the exercise, no matter how it goes from tomorrow.
All right, Sumner, the Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekweremadu, has asked all senators to make themselves available during the electronic voting. But in the case of any eventuality where maybe one or two senators aren't available, was that put into consideration whether it will go on or not?
Well, if you follow the Senate rules, it's usually the rule of 2/3. If any legislator is not available, maybe because he's sick or he's in one way or the other challenged, there is always that room of 2/3 majority having their way. So that means out of 109 senators, we expect a 2/3 of that 109. That gives us 73. So for every item that is to be debated upon and a voting is to be taken, 73 votes must go in favor of any item for the item to be seen to have scaled through. And when that happens in both houses, for example, that of the House of Representatives is about 200 and something out of 360. So when all of this happen and they eventually know the ones that scaled through and the ones that didn't scale through, they will all gather all of this, combine it as a National Assembly document, and now send it to the 36 state houses of assembly for rejection or acceptance. And for each of the items, 24 state houses of assembly must agree to before it is accepted. And then when all those things are accepted, they will now be brought back to the National Assembly before concurrence, and then it is sent to the executive. So you see, it's an idea that accommodates everyone. So even if a lawmaker is ill or not, it does not in one way or the other stops the exercise from going on.
Let me take you up on the R word you just mentioned. Are we to say safely that the debate over restructuring has started in earnest?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
I was wondering whether restructuring debate, whether that debate has really started in earnest. You just made reference to that.
Yes, it has really started in earnest, because if you listen to what the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Speaker Yakubu Dogara, said a week ago, he said that the National Assembly only believes in restructuring through the amendment of the Constitution, that anything that is done out of that is not acceptable to the National Assembly. And that's why if you look at the consideration of the report of the National Conference in 2014, the then National Assembly in the 7th Assembly had kicked against the consideration of the 2014 Confab report, saying that it did not reflect the composition of Nigeria, saying that there can be no two sovereign authorities in the country. The National Assembly is the only sovereign authority that can bring about an amendment of the Constitution or bring about a new lease of life in terms of governance in the country. So what this 8th Assembly has said is that, yes, they have agreed that Nigeria needs to be restructured, but that can only be done through the instrumentality of the National Assembly. Hence, they've asked the executive to submit the 2014 Confab report to the National Assembly to consider. But saying that if, for example, people keep calling for sovereign national authority, sovereign national conference, it will not be able to happen. And any restructuring that is not to be done through the National Assembly is unacceptable, because the Constitution only vests that authority on the National Assembly. So if you look at it, the debate has continued, and the national lawmakers are going to, in one way or the other, subsume some of these restructuring agitations into the amendment of these 27 items. So it's something that is ongoing, and we hope to see this brickbat that usually takes place, for example, between northern lawmakers and southern lawmakers and all of that. So it's going to be an interesting situation tomorrow for us to see how that voting will go on.
Our National Assembly correspondent, Sumner Sambo, thank you very much indeed for bringing us up to date with the resolve of the the Senate and the House of Representatives to do the clause-by-clause voting on the 27 items and the 1999 Constitution. Thank you very much indeed, Sumner.